For nearly 2 decades, Heartland has been more than just a show. It has been a place of comfort, a place of family, a place that felt like home. But what if the home we've known is about to change forever? Because the first clues from Heartland Season 20 suggest that this season won't just continue the story, it may redefine it, and some details that were never meant to be public are already starting to surface. Season 20 is not just another chapter in Heartland's long journey. It carries a weight that no previous season has carried before. For years, the show has followed growth, children becoming adults, struggles turning into lessons, and pain slowly turning into hope. But Season 19 ended on a quieter, heavier note. Not with big drama, but with questions. Questions about the future of the ranch. Questions about family roles. Questions about how much longer things can stay the same. That silence at the end of Season 19 was not accidental. It felt like the show was asking the audience to pause and reflect. To look at how far these characters have come, how much they've already lost along the way. Season 20 appears to pick up right from that emotional space. The early trailer hints don't rely on loud moments or shocking scenes. Instead, they focus on stillness, long looks, empty spaces, familiar places that somehow feel different now. This tells us something important. Season 20 isn't about fixing small problems. It's about facing big truths. The Heartland Ranch has always been a symbol of stability. No matter what happened in the world outside, the ranch stood firm. But subtle clues suggest that this stability may be tested like never before. Not by one single event, but by time itself. Characters are older now. Responsibilities are heavier. Decisions can't be delayed anymore. And Season 20 seems ready to explore what happens when holding on becomes harder than letting go. There's also a strong sense that legacy will be a central theme. What does it really mean to protect something you love? Is it about keeping it exactly the same, or allowing it to change so it can survive? These are not easy questions, and Heartland has never rushed answers. That's why Season 20 feels slower, deeper, and more emotional right from the start. This season doesn't promise comfort right away. It promises honesty, and that alone makes Season 21 of the most important seasons Heartland has ever attempted. Instead, it quietly shows just enough to make longtime fans uneasy. From the very first seconds, the trailer slows everything down. The camera lingers on wide shots of the ranch fields stretching out under a pale sky. Fences standing still, barns that feel familiar yet strangely distant. These are places we've seen hundreds of times before, but now they feel heavier, almost like they're holding memories instead of just land. One of the most noticeable things in the trailer is the lack of dialogue. There are moments where characters are clearly present, but they aren't speaking. We see faces lost in thought, eyes looking off into the distance, small pauses that feel intentional. This silence is not empty, it's emotional. It suggests that things are being felt, but not yet said. Another key detail is how the trailer avoids showing big group scenes. Heartland has always been about family coming together, but here, characters are often framed alone or separated by space. Even when two people share a scene, the camera keeps a distance between them. This visual choice hints at emotional gaps forming, not arguments. But quiet differences that grow over time. Pay close attention to how the ranch itself is filmed. The lighting is softer, more muted. Gone are the warm golden tones that once made the ranch feel safe and unchanging. Instead, we see cooler colors, overcast skies, and early mornings. This change in mood suggests uncertainty. Not danger, but transition. One of the most talked about moments in the trailer is a short shot where a familiar character stands still. It's watching something we can't see. The camera never shows what they're looking at. This is a classic storytelling move. It forces the audience to imagine what's coming and whatever it is. It matters deeply to that character. There's also a noticeable absence of certain things fans are used to seeing. Fewer horses in motion, less action, no dramatic rescues. That doesn't mean those moments won't exist in Season 20. It means the trailer wants us focused elsewhere. On emotions, on choices, On consequences, the editing style supports this idea. Scenes don't cut quickly. Instead, they fade. One image blends slowly into the next, almost like memories overlapping. This makes the trailer feel reflective, as if the show itself is looking back before moving forward. Music plays a major role here as well. Rather than a strong theme, the trailer uses a simple, quiet melody. It rises gently, then falls back into silence. This creates a sense of waiting, like something important is coming, but hasn't arrived yet. Another subtle clue lies in the locations chosen for the trailer. We see familiar places, but we also see angles we don't often get. Empty roads, corners of the ranch that usually sit in the background. This shift in perspective suggests that season 20 may explore parts of the characters, lives that have been ignored or avoided before. Even body language tells a story. Characters stand still instead of moving forward. Hands rest at their sides. Shoulders feel heavier. These are small details, but in a show like Heartland, small details matter. They hint at internal struggles rather than external conflict, perhaps. The biggest clue of all is what the trailer refuses to answer. There's no clear problem introduced. No obvious threat. No single storyline teased. That alone tells us Season 20 is not about reacting to one event. It's about living with long-term change. This trailer feels like a deep breath before a difficult conversation, a pause before life shifts direction. And when a show that has run this long chooses silence over spectacle, it usually means one thing: the story ahead is personal. Season 20 isn't asking viewers to brace for chaos. It's asking them to prepare for truth. And sometimes, truth is far more powerful than any dramatic twist. Season 20 of Heartland doesn't appear to be driven by one big event. Instead, it seems to be shaped by something far more powerful: people changing quietly. This season feels like a moment where every major character is standing at a personal crossroads, not because something exploded, but because time has finally caught up with them. Let's start with Amy. For years, Amy has been the emotional core of Heartland. She's always been strong, patient, and deeply connected to the ranch and the animals. But the trailer suggests that Season 20 may push her into a space she's rarely been before: uncertainty. We see her calm on the surface, but there's a heaviness in her expression. It feels like she's carrying a decision she hasn't made yet. Amy's journey no longer looks like it's about proving herself. That chapter feels complete. Now, the question seems to be, what does she want for the rest of her life? The trailer hints that she may be thinking beyond the ranch, beyond routine, beyond what she's always known. And that kind of thinking is dangerous, not because it's wrong, but because it changes everything. Then there's Lou. Lou has always been about movement, growth, expansion, ideas. She pushes forward even when others hesitate. But in Season 20, the trailer suggests she might finally be slowing down. Not because she wants to, but because she has to. We see her in moments of reflection. It's not action. Watching, listening, pausing. This could mean that Lou is facing the cost of always pushing ahead. The strain on family? The pressure of responsibility. Season 20 may ask Lou to decide whether success is still worth it, if it pulls her further away from the people she loves. That internal conflict could be one of the most emotional arcs of the season. Jack's presence in the trailer is especially powerful, not because of how much he appears, but because of how still he is. Jack has always been the foundation, the steady voice, the one who holds the past and present together. In Season 20, he feels more symbolic than ever. His scenes carry a sense of reflection, almost like he's watching the future unfold rather than guiding it. This doesn't feel like weakness. It feels like acceptance. Jack may finally be stepping into a role he's resisted for years, trusting others to carry the legacy forward. And that's never easy for someone who's spent a lifetime holding everything together. What makes this even more emotional is the way the trailer frames Jack in relation to the ranch. He's often shown alone, surrounded by land and memories. It raises a quiet but powerful question. What happens to a legacy when the one who built it begins to let go? Other characters also seem to be entering transitional phases. Younger characters are no longer just the next generation. They're becoming decision makers. Their mistakes carry more weight now. Their choices affect more than just themselves. There's also a sense that relationships are evolving without conflict. No shouting. No obvious breakups. Just distance. Different priorities. Separate paths slowly forming. This is the most realistic kind of change, and often the most painful. Season 20 appears to understand something very important. Not all emotional shifts come from drama. Some come from growth. From realizing you can't stay the same forever. The trailer doesn't show confrontations. It shows moments before conversations happen. That tells us Season 20 will likely focus on communication or the lack of it. On things left unsaid. On feelings people are still trying to understand themselves. Another interesting detail is how often characters are shown looking outward rather than at each other. This suggests introspection. Each person is asking their own private questions, and when everyone is searching for answers at the same time, balance becomes fragile. This season may challenge long-standing roles. Caregivers may need care. Leaders may hesitate. Dreamers may feel tired, and those who once followed may need to step forward. What makes this especially powerful is that Heartland has earned the right to tell this kind of story. After so many seasons, the audience knows these characters deeply. Small changes feel huge. A pause feels heavy. A look feels loaded with meaning. Season 20 doesn't seem interested in reinventing these characters. It's interested in revealing who they've become, and that can be harder to watch than any dramatic twist, because when characters grow in quiet ways, it mirrors real life. And real life doesn't come with clear answers. It only asks one question. Are you ready for what comes next? Season 20 looks ready to ask that question of every character and every viewer. Before anything was officially confirmed, whispers had already started. Not loud announcements. Not headlines. Just quiet clues that something behind the scenes of Heartland Season 20 was different. And when longtime fans notice quiet changes, it usually means something important is happening. One of the earliest leaks came from filming activity. People close to production began noticing unusual scheduling patterns. Scenes were being filmed out of order more than usual. Certain locations were used repeatedly, while others were avoided completely. This might not sound important at first, but for a show as consistent as Heartland, changes like this often signal a shift in storytelling focus. Another rumor that gained tension was the reduced presence of certain cast members during filming periods. This doesn't automatically mean exits, but it does suggest restructuring. When a long-running series enters a milestone season like Season 20, writers often rebalance the story. Some characters step forward, others step back, and sometimes those changes happen quietly before viewers ever notice them on screen. There were also reports of new faces on set. No official announcements, no press releases, just sightings. Background actors with more screen time than usual. New characters interacting closely with familiar ones. This raises a strong possibility that Season 20 will introduce people who challenge existing dynamics rather than simply filling space. What makes this especially interesting is that these rumored new characters don't appear to be loud or dramatic. They aren't framed as obvious troublemakers. Instead, they seem woven into everyday life at the ranch. That kind of introduction often leads to long-term impact rather than short-term conflict. Another leaked detail that caught fans' attention was the tone of scripts being discussed internally. Several sources mentioned that Season 20 scripts were described as emotional, reflective, and grounded. Those words matter. They suggest that the season isn't chasing shock value. It's leaning into realism. There were even quiet hints that some episodes would focus heavily on individual characters, almost like personal stories within the larger narrative. This format allows the audience to sit with emotions longer, rather than jumping quickly between plot points. It also suggests that Season 20 wants viewers to understand not just what characters are doing, but why they're doing it. One of the most talked about leaks involves the future of the ranch itself. While nothing has been confirmed, multiple hints suggest that the ranch may face decisions that go beyond financial struggle. The question doesn't seem to be whether the ranch can survive, what kind of future it should have. That's a very different kind of tension. Instead of fighting to save something from collapse, Season 20 may explore whether holding on to tradition is always the right choice. This idea aligns closely with the visual tone of the trailer: slower, quieter, more thoughtful. Another detail fans picked up on is the way Season 20 reportedly handles time. There are suggestions of small time jumps. Not enough to disrupt the story, but enough to show progression. This technique is often used when a show wants to emphasize growth rather than repetition. Some leaks even suggest that Season 20 was written with a sense of closure in mind, not an ending, but a resolution of long-running emotional threads. That doesn't mean the show is ending. It means the writers may be preparing the story for whatever comes next, whether that's continuation or transformation, perhaps. The most emotional rumor of all is that certain relationships may quietly change without dramatic fallout. No explosive arguments, no sudden exits. Just people realizing they want different things. This kind of storytelling can feel more painful than traditional drama because it mirrors real life so closely. Fans have also noticed that promotional material for Season 20 avoids big promises. There are no bold claims about the biggest season ever. Instead, the messaging feels careful, almost protective, as if the show wants viewers to come in with open hearts rather than high expectations for spectacle. That alone makes these leaks feel believable. When a show has nothing left to prove, it stops trying to impress. It starts trying to be honest. Season 20 appears to be built on that honesty. If even half of these leaked details turn out to be true, then Season 20 isn't designed to shock viewers. It's designed to sit with them, to ask questions, to make them feel the weight of time, change, and choice. And that might be the boldest move Heartland has ever made. Because in a world full of loud stories, choosing quiet truth is a risk. But it's also the reason Heartland has lasted this long. Season 20 doesn't feel like a secret explosion waiting to happen. It feels like a slow turn of the page. And sometimes, the most powerful moments come not from what ends, but from what finally begins to change. Season 20 of Heartland doesn't feel like it's built around surprises. It feels built around meaning. At this point in the show's life, the story is no longer asking, what happens next? It's asking something deeper. Why does it matter? One of the strongest themes shaping Season 20 is letting go without losing yourself. For years, the characters of Heartland have held on to people, places, and routines that gave them comfort. The ranch has always been the anchor. The familiar rhythm of daily life has always been the safety net. But Season 20 seems ready to explore what happens when holding on starts to feel heavier than moving forward. This doesn't mean abandoning the past. In fact, the season appears to respect the past more than ever. Memories aren't erased. Traditions aren't mocked. Instead, they're treated carefully, like something fragile that must be carried, not clung to. Another major theme emerging in Season 20 is identity beyond responsibility. Many characters have spent years defined by what they do for others: caretakers, leaders, fixers, providers. But when responsibility becomes routine, it can quietly replace personal desire. Season 20 hints that some characters may finally ask themselves who they are. When they stop solving everyone else's problems, that question is uncomfortable. And Heartland seems willing to sit in that discomfort. There's also a strong focus on time, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Time in Heartland has always passed gently, marked by seasons and growth rather than sudden change. Season 20 appears to lean into this idea, using time to show how small choices add up, how years of patience shape people, how delay can sometimes be just as powerful as action. This theme is reflected in the pacing. Nothing feels rushed. Conversations feel measured. Moments linger longer than expected. This isn't accidental. It's storytelling that trusts the audience to feel rather than be told what to feel. Family remains at the core, but Season 20 explores family in a more complex way. It's no longer just about staying together. It's about staying honest. About recognizing that love doesn't always mean agreement. That closeness doesn't always mean the same direction. This is especially powerful in a show that has often celebrated unity. Season 20 doesn't undo that message. It deepens it. It suggests that real unity allows room for difference. Another quiet but important theme is legacy versus future. The ranch stands as a symbol of everything built before. Hard work, sacrifice, survival. But the future asks different questions. What does success look like now? What should be preserved and what must evolve? Season 20 doesn't appear to provide simple answers. Instead, it presents situations where every option carries loss and growth. Choosing change means leaving something behind. Choosing stability means accepting limits. These are adult choices, and the season treats them with maturity. There's also a noticeable emphasis on emotional honesty. Characters aren't hiding behind anger or drama. They're quieter, more reflective. Feelings are shown through pauses, expressions, and restraint rather than confrontation. This kind of storytelling requires trust, both in the actors and in the audience. Another theme that quietly runs through Season 20 is acceptance. Not resignation, but understanding. Accepting that people grow at different speeds. Accepting that dreams change shape. Accepting that life doesn't always follow the plan you imagined when you were younger. This theme is especially strong because it mirrors the audience's relationship with the show. Many viewers have grown up with Heartland. They've changed alongside it. Season 20 feels like a conversation between the show and its audience, acknowledging that both have lived a lot of life together. Hope is still present, but it's a calmer kind of hope. Not the kind that promises everything will war,